Hi, I'm Anne, and this is Support for Stressful Times. And it's lovely to be with you today. Thank you so much. What I like to do in these webinars, in these monthly webinars, is to share together some presence with each other, share the ability to be present with what is right now, with what we feel, how we are, what's going on. And how wonderful it is to do that in a community, in a group. That's really nice. And also to do it in the body, feeling your body, aware of your body. Because the miracle of the body is your body is available always in the present moment. If you feel like you're way out in the future, worried about what's going to happen, or way in the past, stuck repeating thoughts about something that happened back then, come into the present moment by feeling your body. Let's do that together right now. Feeling your body means like feeling your toes touching something, wiggling your toes so you can really feel your feet, and feeling your seat. You're probably sitting down. If you're not, that's okay. If you're not sitting down, it's important to really feel your feet. If you're sitting, you can feel your sittingness, what you're sitting on, the quality of sitting. And your breath is right here, right now, to be able to be felt, available here and now. How is your breath? You can check in. And how are you? Because a lot of what we spend time with in these webinars has to do with feelings, emotions. Stressful times can bring stressful feelings. And something that has really helped me in stressful times is something that I call presence or self in presence. In fact, that's a kind of a complicated word, so I'm going to write it in the chat. Self in presence. Most of you have heard this before from me. Self in presence. What is that? Is it feeling good all the time? Is it feeling just calm and everything's not a problem? No. Self in presence is the ability to be present even when times are stressful, emotions are stressful, relationships are stressful, and I am here. And we can even try that together right now. So take a moment to feel your body. Feel your body supported. Let your body show you how it wants to stand or sit or lie right now. And let awareness come inward into that inner area that includes your throat, your chest, your stomach, your belly. And sense, how am I right now? How am I right now? Well, for me, I'm feeling a lot of happiness to be here with you. But earlier today, and it's pretty early in the morning for me, so not very long ago, I woke up and I had some not so nice feelings that I was aware of. Kind of a feeling of it being a little bit down. Yeah, down is a good word for it. Notice when you first feel something, it takes a little time to find the right word for it. Down was a good word for it. So, how can I be present with a feeling of down? How can I be self in presence with a feeling of down? Do I tell it to go away? Do I tell my feeling, cheer up? In a few hours, we're going to do a great webinar or a fun webinar with some great people. You'll feel better then. That's what I would have done years ago. Cheer up, I would have told myself. But that's not a very self in presence thing to do. Self in presence says hello. I say hello to however I'm feeling. Do you want to try that right now? However you're feeling, hello, I know you're there. So I said to the feeling of down, hello. And then I use this language that I love sharing with people, the language of something in me. It really helps me be with anything that I feel. Something in me feels down right now. Do you want to try that yourself with whatever you're feeling? Something in me feels stressed. Something in me feels tired. Something in me feels anxious. Something in me feels sad, worried, upset, irritated. See what the difference is when you can say, something in me feels. That difference comes from presence, from self in presence. And so lately I've been starting to tell people in my webinars about my books because I love my books. And the one I want to tell you about today is called Presence, a guide to transforming your most challenging emotions. So I was looking at this book today. This is actually a collection of some of my tips where people ask me tough questions. Thank you, Lily. Lily says, a wonderful book. Thank you. People ask me questions and then I give answers. And I picked some of the toughest questions to share in the book. So this is one. Can you still say something in me is worried if you're concerned there's really something to worry about? Okay. So let's say you are feeling worried and you say something in me is worried. And then what you get in response is like, yeah, but there really is something to worry about. Do you know what I mean? It's really important that this phrase, something in me, is not an evaluation that the feeling is somehow wrong. We have serious, true, real things to worry about, don't we? So when I say something in me is worried, I'm not saying that that's false, that there's nothing to worry about. See, that would be that other way of reacting, like, don't worry, cheer up, there's nothing to worry about. That's not what self in presence does. It's not a don't worry, cheer up. It's a I'm here with you. Do you know, when I was growing up, my mom was the cheer up kind of person. That was her way of trying to help. I have a lot of empathy for that. And it left me longing for something else. When I went to her to tell her my troubles, and I got, cheer up, it's not so bad, look at the bright side, there was a sense of incompleteness. Something was missing. Do you know what I mean? Imagine telling your troubles to somebody. What do you want to hear? Do you want to hear them say, nah? I mean, maybe you do, but maybe check in and see if that's right. What I felt was missing, I realized when I finally got the thing I was missing, when I got into my 20s and I met Eugene Gendlin, I met the focusing world, something happened that had never happened before. And that was when I told somebody my feelings, they said, oh, well, that's how it is for you. Oh my gosh. I'd been longing for that. And then maybe they would listen more. Maybe I would tell them more about how I was feeling, and maybe they would listen more. Wow. So amazing. So let's be that kind of listener to ourselves. If something in you is worried, don't say to it, don't worry. Let's say it's something that really is concerning, that might need some action. Something is worried about something, and it might need some action. When you sense that something in you is worried, and it might be really worried about something, there might be something you really need to do, something you really need to take care of, somebody you need to ask for help from. To say something in me is worried and to listen for a while to that worried part will enable you to more effectively take action. It's not pushing feelings away, not in any way. Here's what I said to this person. Just do a little reading here from my book. this person had written that they'd been feeling not very successful at their business and worried that it would never change, that their business would not be very successful. So obviously these are tough feelings, and my suggestion to say something in me is worried, something in me is afraid my business will never be successful is not a suggestion to push those feelings away. So I said, you might be really right to be worried about your business. The worry could be a signal from inside you that something needs attention. Not necessarily that you should quit, but maybe you need to spread out to new markets or get help with your website or find a second income stream. When we say, I'm sensing something in me is worried, we're not saying it should stop worrying. We're allowing the worried part to form itself as a something so we can more easily turn toward it and get to know it better. And when you're in a worried state, when you're completely identified with worry, when all of you is worried, you're not a good listener to yourself. That's hard. So by saying I'm sensing something in me is worried, you move into the position of listener. And listener means I hear how it is for you and I'm here for you. But then there's a switch. After you fully hear the feelings inside, then you are also the person who can take action if action is needed, who can make clearer decisions about what needs to happen in your life. Let's take a moment together and see if there's something like that going on for you, shall we? So you're feeling your body, feeling how your body is supported by what you're sitting on, allowing yourself to rest into that support. You might also be standing or lying down. Most people are sitting. Feeling your breathing, letting your awareness come inward, sensing inwardly. And then sense, how am I right now? What's my mood? What's the feel of this moment for me inside? Some word or words might come immediately, or it might be that you're feeling something that's hard to describe. So take a little more time if that's true. And let yourself use funny words like cloudy or fuzzy. Anything is welcome. It doesn't have to be a standard feeling word like sad or glad. How are you right now inside at this moment? And if it's something enjoyable, connected, happy, appreciating, interested, then enjoy it. We don't need to do anything special there. Enjoy, enjoy. But if it's something stressful, upset, worried, bored, angry, anxious, then try saying something in me is, something in me feels. Notice how, if that makes a difference when you say it that way. And notice that that difference that it makes is not a kind of cheer up, go away kind of difference. I hope you're finding that when you say something in me is, there's an opportunity to be with what you feel. In fact, you could add the words, and I am with you now. Something in me is feeling a bit down, and I'm saying hello to it. I'm saying to it, and I am with you now. So the being with is right there with the something in me feels. Something in me feels, and I am being with that. How is that for you now to do it that way? That's presence, you see. When I can be with how I feel without trying to change it, without arguing with it, without being afraid of how I feel, right? What if you feel something and you feel afraid of how you feel, afraid of how strong it is, afraid you'll get overwhelmed? Well, now there's something. Feeling a lot of anxiety and I'm feeling scared of how anxious I am. Okay, something in me is anxious and something in me is scared about that. And I am here with all of that. And so, what I'm saying about what if there's really something to worry about, you know, after you spend time with how you feel, after you listen to what is really bothering it, then the world awaits you. You open your eyes, you look around, and now you're still presence. You're still self in presence with the mental clarity that comes from having said hello to your feelings. That gives you the inner sense of clarity and strength that you'll need to handle the life situations that are coming at us all the time these days. So we can have an inner sense of presence that's a warm, compassionate contact with ourselves. And following that, we can have an outer sense of presence, which is okay, so what needs my attention? What do I actually need to do? I live in earthquake country here in California. And many years ago, I was so scared of earthquakes that I kept putting off doing the things one can do to prepare, like fastening the kitchen cabinets so they don't pop open and send all the dishes out if an earthquake happens, and other things like that, getting food and water supplies. I wasn't doing those things. I was consumed by my worry and by my not wanting to deal with worry, not wanting to deal with the whole situation. It all felt like something that was difficult, and also I wanted to avoid it. Did you know what that's like? Not just with earthquakes, but there's so many things one could worry about these days. And this sort of, I don't want to go there, I don't want to look at it, might be what's happening. So one day I said something in me is worried about earthquakes. I had to say a big something in me is worried about earthquakes. And I spent some time with it. Said, hello, I'm with you, I'm listening. And that part of me said that it found worry very unpleasant. It found the anxious feeling very unpleasant. And it was really trying not to feel that. And I said, okay, I hear you. You don't want to feel that way. I get it. Then I opened my eyes and I went about my life, and I found myself preparing for earthquakes. Somehow I'd gotten into a state of clarity, into a state of presence where, okay, I'll do what I can do. There's a lot of things one can't do, but there's some things I can do. And I found myself doing. You know, that wonderful serenity prayer, the courage to change the things I can, the serenity to accept the things I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference. I feel I can get in that state more easily when I'm able to say to my feelings, something in me feels da da da, and hello, I know you're there. What about you? What's been happening as we've tried this out together? What have you noticed? What have you been aware of? I'd love to hear if you want to tell. What's the stressful feeling that you're finding these days? Or maybe there's many. Or maybe you're familiar with that feeling of so much not wanting to feel something that you're both feeling it and trying not to feel it. Pausing, sensing, and allowing how we feel to be how we feel. There isn't any good that comes from arguing with feelings, telling them they shouldn't feel that way. How do you like it when other people treat you that way? Not very much. Lily writes, I spend a lot of time with something in me that believes she'll never be accepted and connected. And the more I do this, the more I'm connecting with wonderful people in my outer life. That is so beautiful. And so for Lily, it's been that there's something in her that believes and feels that it will never happen, that she doesn't feel accepted and connected, and she never will. And instead of trying to talk that part into a more cheerful state, Lily is just being there, being with that part. I hear you. And finding that from doing that, there is more availability actually in the outer life to feeling accepted and connected. That's what I find too. Christina wrote in the chat, I feel I am a mess. Christina, did you try saying, I am sensing something in me feels like a mess? Let's try that right now. I am sensing something in me feels like a mess. See what happens. I'm sensing something in me feels like a mess, and I'm saying hello to that. You know, sometimes I like to use my little dolls at this point. I am sensing something in me feels like a mess, and I am saying hello to that. This is a very self-loving, self-accepting thing to do. And you'll feel the effects of it in your body. Amanda writes, paradoxically, something in me feels like I can't get through to people and be heard, and then I avoid making phone calls for fear of the reactions, ensuring I'm not heard. Yes, I know that paradox so well. It's so familiar to me that by trying to avoid an experience and protect ourselves from it, we end up kind of making it happen. So I wouldn't be mad at myself for that. I wouldn't shame myself for that. I wouldn't try to talk myself into doing differently. I would just say hello. Say hello to something in me that believes I can't get through to people. I hear you. That's the magic. And you know what? I would name that magic. I would name it relationship, inner relationship. You are there with that. You are the listener. And whatever that one is feeling inside you, it has room to be there. It has room to be felt. It's allowed. Someone writes in the chat, something in me feels always insecure and doesn't decide about what to do. But I could never understand why it's so hard. And another part feels ashamed to be so insecure. Well, that's really great that you're recognizing. So we've got two parts here, one that feels insecure and one that feels ashamed to be so insecure. You would say hello to each one of them. And when you say you don't understand why it's so hard to feel secure, that comes from curiosity, compassion. Like, for some good reason, this part feels the way it feels. For some good reason, it feels insecure. I'm not going to be able to figure out up here why it's so insecure. I've got to listen. So I say something in me feels insecure, and then I see if I can feel it in my body. Maybe it's a little tightness or shakiness or squeezing or something like that. And then I sit with it and I say, hello, I'm here to listen. And then I sense more about it. And we can't know from outside. Maybe it comes from the past. Maybe it's something that happened. Maybe it shows you a memory, but it will make sense somehow. And then when you let it know you hear it, there's something like a letting go or a loosening that happens naturally. Not because you told it to let go, but because it feels heard. It happens naturally. Beautiful. Coming to the end of our time. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for sharing. for your wanting to be present to your stressful emotions in these stressful times. You're helping to create a world that will be a more welcoming world for all of us. Thank you so, so much.